Okay, next one. I structure my ads a lot differently than a lot of people, and this is totally zoomed, not looking good here. Okay, so I structure my campaigns a lot differently than people. A lot of people like to do, if they're doing e-com or something, they'll do like one campaign per product. I see people with just like tons of campaigns with like one ad set in each campaign. You're actually kind of hurting yourself by doing this because Facebook looks at it like, okay, there's a reason that the objective of the lies at the campaign level and not at the ad set level. They could have made it so you choose clicks to website or conversions or whatever at the ad set level, but they made it so it's at the campaign level, and they did that for a reason. It's so that whatever data is collected, from your targeting ad set 1 and ad set 2, whatever data that they learn, about that, let's say you make another ad set trying a new targeting, you'd want to keep it in the same campaign and just make a new ad set because it already has that data. Now, if you make a new campaign, basically you lose a little bit of the history. You don't lose any pixel data per se. You're not losing visitors or anything like that, but basically, Facebook their algorithm works better if you keep things within the same campaign if it is the same objective. And then within each ad set, I'll usually do a bunch of ad sets, but within each one, I'll typically do multiple ads. I'll usually do like 3 to 5 ads to start, but then you want duplicates of each ad in your ad sets. I know a lot of people that just have an ad set with one ad in it, that's it. That's fine, but you'll bring your cost down if you at least duplicate that ad like 2 or 3 times. The reason being because Facebook only shows your ad to between 300 and 1,000 people right off the bat, each ad, and they kind of base a lot on the future of your ad on that first 300 or 1,000 people, which sucks because it could be July, like a holiday or something when you first launch your campaign, or maybe the first 500 people they show it to was just a bad sample. If you only have one ad and you get a bad CTR on that right in the beginning, it's hard to fight your way out of that. You're like fighting an uphill battle. Facebook actually recommends you duplicate your ads 5 times. I usually do 3 to 5, depending on the budget. But the reason being that you'll get different CTRs, different relevance scores, even though it's the exact same ad, same targeting, same everything, you'll see that you have wildly different results just duplicating it. And then you just, again, get rid of the worst ones after, a few 3 days, 5 days, something like that. But always duplicate your ads within your ad set, and you'll see immediately that it'll make a big difference. Any questions on this?
Okay, so if you start with, let's say, 3 to 5 different ads within that ad set, and then you duplicate each one 3 to 5 times, you'll end up with like 25, right?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Exactly. And if I am doing that, if it's a larger budget, then I'll do 5 duplicates. If it's a smaller budget, then I'll do like 3.
Okay, and then when you duplicate, do you go ahead and raise your budget as well?
Well, no, because I have the duplicate going right off the bat. Like I start with the duplicates.
Okay.
Yeah. But then let's say that let's say I double my budget, I might add another duplicate to give like another chance to the ad. And also, if you're adding a duplicate on like a different day, you want to try to add the duplicate at a time where it's a good CTR, it's a good time of day. So let's say you're doing dating or something. You'd want to try, let's say you up your budget, you'd want to maybe like throw a new duplicate in there at like 11 p.m. on a Friday night or something where there's going to be a good CTR to try to give it, because that first 1,000 impressions is like very, very crucial.
Thank you.
So, are you saying it's possible to still run dating on Facebook in 2016?
Totally, yes. You just have to have approval from them, which they don't really give out anymore much.
Yep. Okay.
Unless you work for like Match or eHarmony or something like that. Yeah, it's very difficult to run without permission, but they still do give out permission if it's for a big company. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Wow.
You can same thing with gambling, poker. A lot of the stuff that like people cloak. If it's a big company, you can actually get approval for some of it. You can't do like really shady advertorials and stuff. You can do legit advertorials though, but there are legit ways to run a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
Got a question.
Sure.
What do you think of services like AdEspresso that automate the ad creation process?
I don't like the way AdEspresso does it. They do it all pretty much as unpublished posts, and they do each one as a different post, so that you're not sharing any social proof. So even though the same ad will be in, you'll have the exact same ad in this ad set as in that one. This one could have 100 likes, that one could have 2 likes. And the one that has 2 likes is not going to do really well because it has 2 likes. Now, if it was sharing the social proof, each one would have 102 likes, each one. So then you have a better chance. A lot of times it's not the targeting. A lot of times after a few days, people will turn off maybe that ad set too because the ad only has a couple likes and it's not performing well. Well, a lot of times it's not the targeting that's the problem, it's the social proof that's the problem. So good social proof brings your cost down about 50%, really, really huge. So basically, you want to make sure that you share the social proof, and you can do that either with published posts, which means that it goes right on your fan page, and then when you're in Power Editor or whatever, you just go to Use Existing Ad. And I don't think you can do that in AdEspresso, at least last time I checked. But if you do an unpublished post, we might get into this tomorrow or come find me later and I'll show you, but you can basically grab the post ID and you can make it so unpublished posts do actually share social proof. So there is a way around it. But you want to make sure that you're doing that. That alone will help you a lot. And we'll get to your questions in 1 second. I just want to say real quick, I've been doing this a long time, internet advertising in general, and I read a lot. I try a lot of new ad networks, and you name it. And I come to a lot of events and conventions, seminars, and all that, masterminds, you name it. Just the way I look at it is that once you've been going to a lot of these, you learn a lot, and then so you can't go into, like, for example, this exact event today. I hope you didn't come expecting to learn that everything you learned was going to be new, that everything you learned was going to be helpful, because that's not realistic, right? A lot of the stuff that I'm going over, or Ronnie or John or anybody is going over, you may know some of it already, and that means that's a good thing. It means not only is someone else doing it right that you agree with, but so how I look at coming to any of these is that if I can just learn 1 or even 2 just good things, just 1 or 2 good things, golden nuggets, if you will, that it's well worth it. So that's why I love going to conventions and these courses and you name it, because I always pick up at least 1 or 2 good things. So I just wanted to, I guess that has nothing to do with this, with campaign structure, but just look for that. At least if you can learn a lot more than 1 or 2 things, like, that's awesome. But at least if you learn that 1 or 2 things, at least it was worth it. We had questions, though. Go.
So I'm having a little trouble matching what I heard from you with what I'm seeing here. You're saying 3 to 5 identical ads.
I just couldn't fit it on the PowerPoint. That's all.
Okay. Because what it looks like you're doing here is you're creating one control and then split testing a different ad copy. And
well, see, yeah, there's actually like ad 1, then ad 1 copy, and there's ad 2 copy. And I would have done more, but it was too wide just for the presentation. But yeah, within each ad set, I would have usually 3 unique ads, and then at least 3 duplicates of each one. So I would have a total of 9 ad units, if you want to call it that.
And then, okay, so if I'm doing an unpublished post for my original ad and I want to make 3 duplicates for that original ad, there is a way to share the social proof, as you said. That is totally possible.
Yeah, very simply put, I'll give you like the three-step version. You want to first upload it to Facebook. Click upload changes or whatever in Power Editor. Then in Power Editor, like, refresh it. Then you're going to hit view on, there's like a view links button when you're looking at the preview of the ad. You're going to do manage Facebook comments is the one you want to click. It's one of the links there. And then in the URL, there's like a long string of numbers at the end. That's the post ID. You want to grab that. And then then what you do is you just, in that ad set you're just working on, click new ad. But instead of doing, typing it all out again, you do use existing post, and then it lets you do enter post ID, and then bam, you just stick that post ID right in there, and then it's sharing it, and then you can just duplicate off of that over and over.
Well,
and then it'll share it across the board. Yeah.
Likes, comments, everything the same.
Yep.
Wow, that's cool. Okay.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Okay, so I think we already went over this. Each campaign should be for a specific purpose. Yeah, if you want to try If it's the same objective, but you want to try different targetings or creatives, just add new ad sets to the existing campaign. Don't create a new one. There are some exceptions to that. If whatever you're promoting, is heavily different. For example, if you're selling like jewelry, you want to put all your products into the same campaign. Vintage jewelry specifically. Let's say you're doing like, I don't know much about jewelry honestly, but let's say whatever the opposite of vintage jewelry is, you want to try promoting that. Then you'd want to put that in its own campaign because it's going to be a heavily different audience. And then let's say that maybe you also sell, if you're doing sporting goods, you'd want to have one campaign for basketball, one for baseball, one for football, and so on. So you'd want to break your campaigns down like that. And then whenever you try a new targeting or a new ad or anything, keep it in that same campaign. Now, the only exception to this is, I've had this happen to me before. Let's say you make a new campaign, you set up everything brand new, you're excited to get going, and you start it running for a few hours, and you forgot to place your pixel, right? Or your landing page isn't loading, or you forgot to do something, right? Facebook is going to think, and let's say you let it run for a full day before you notice it. Facebook's going to think that your conversions cost, potentially hundreds of dollars more than it should, or $30 more than it should if it's a lower CPA or whatever. But they're going to think it costs a lot more. So a way around that is to basically just pause that campaign, duplicate it, and then you kind of it doesn't start out completely fresh, but it starts out basically fresh, like more or less fresh. So that as long as your pixel or whatever is fixed now, it's not going to really hurt you. But you'll notice if you just keep, like if you try to duplicate all the ad sets in your existing campaign that shit the bed, your new ones are not going to do that great either because they're still within the same campaign. So that is the exception. That's where you do want to make a new campaign, is if something happened in a bad way to your old one, basically. Questions, anybody?
I have like a coupon site right now, and I'm not really sure like what kind of ads to be running. I'm guessing like likes, because I'm not necessarily looking for an immediate conversion. I'm looking for repeated customers. What would you suggest? Like right now, what I've been doing is likes.
I would do website conversions, and then I would set the conversion window to 7 days instead of 1 day, and make it so that after they use a coupon or print one out or whatever the action is, make that your conversion.
Okay.
Because they will be able to optimize for that. That's a good example, actually. But I would also, again, still run the PPE. I would still keep the page likes going because for that, organic traffic is probably pretty useful. And again, you guys, for your fan page, don't only have ads on your page. I made this mistake as well, so I'm guilty of this as well. But put some like relevant news in there, or like motivational like memes or quotes or something. Like make it look like a real company fan page and not just like a boatload of ads. That'll help you get a rep faster, and it'll also actually increase your page engagement and quality score in the background, which goes into your ad costs. That's something that heavily can influence your ad costs. So, every once a week or maybe twice a week, something like that. Post something just that will be engaging on that fan page that is not an ad, and then ideally even boost it too. I like boosting posts; it helps a lot.
Cool. Thank you.